Mounting public anger in Uvalde, Texas, as details of police delays and lax security emerged about Tuesday's primary school shooting. The gunman who killed 19 children and 2 teachers was inside the building for an hour before police confronted him in a shootout. Tony Waterman has the latest from Uvalde.
Thursday was meant to be the last day of school for children here in Uvalde, really a day for celebration. But instead, what we have are 19 families in this community facing the unimaginable agony of having to bury their child. 2 other families will bury their mothers, teachers Eva Morales and Irma Garcia, who we understand use their bodies as shields to protect their students after a gunman barricaded himself inside their 4th grade classroom. As the funerals are being planned, questions are being asked about the police response. Officials say the accused gunman, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, was in the school for up to an hour before law enforcement took him down. Outside the building, frantic onlookers, including parents who were reportedly shouting at security officials to storm the building. One father who lost his daughter in the attack told the AP that he wanted to run inside with other onlookers because the police weren't doing anything. Law enforcement says the dozens of officers that responded to the shooting didn't hesitate, and that they took care of the situation as quickly as possible. Reconciling these conflicting accounts will be a key issue in the ongoing investigation. We're also getting new information about those chilling Facebook messages the gunman reportedly sent just before this massacre unfolded to a 15-year-old girl in Germany that he had met online. In a series of messages, he complained about his grandmother. Minutes later, he texted that he had shot her in the head. His grandmother is now clinging to life in a San Antonio hospital. Then another and final message saying he was going to shoot up an elementary school. After killing 21 people, the gunman himself was shot dead by law enforcement. Now, Facebook says these messages were private and they didn't discover them until after this tragedy unfolded. This is an ongoing investigation. There are a lot of questions to still be answered in the coming weeks and in the coming months. But if this shooter's grandmother survives her injuries, she will be a key witness to what sparked this rampage that left 19 innocent children and 2 teachers dead. Tony Waterman, CGTN, Uvalde County, Texas.
Families of the victims and others in the community are calling on the government to take action on gun control.
Show him to the state, the nation, show him to the world.
Can you just hold it straight this way for a second? Thank you.
When he died, I died. Authority of the government to say to stop this. It can be stopped. Don't hand a gun over to because you don't know it's a criminal until he does it. Why do you hand a gun to this guy and he goes shoots a little kid? It's happened too many times. And now it happens to us. It has to stop. You don't put a weapon in of course you can't say they're bad, in a bad person's hands.
18 years old buying any type of weapons. How is that if us under 21-year-olds are not able to go and buy alcohol or cigarettes and none of that? It doesn't make no sense. It doesn't. Now look what happened. All these children are now no longer here because they let an 18-year-old buy a weapon.
When you know that something works, you're going to lean in and help scale that. You're going to help expand that. But if all you think is, oh, nothing's going to happen, nothing's happened since Sandy Hook, this is just the way it is, then you're actually continuing the problem. So our key message is gun violence is preventable. We have actions. There are actions that every individual can take in their family, community, school, with politicians as well.
At a press conference on Wednesday, U.S. State Department spokesperson Ned Price said mass shootings not only damage America's global reputation, but also upset friends and confuse friends and allies who don't understand how they can continue to happen.
We have the potential to set an example for the world that no country would wish to emulate. And rather than be an object of envy, we have the potential to be a source of confusion, a source of disbelief for our closest friends and allies, worse yet, an object of pity, or, in the case of competitors and adversaries, a source of Schadenfreude, a source of, in some cases, glee. So the power of our example has the potential to be our greatest asset. On days like today, however, it's that example, an example that the world is clearly watching, that will have implications for our standing, and we're very mindful of that.
It really is heartbreaking. And I just want to remind everybody, since Columbine in 1999, upward of 300,000 Americans have been hit by gunfire. I mean, this year alone, this is the 27th mass shooting. Last year, 42 mass shootings. We all have kids and grandkids in my case. I mean, you talk about genocide. Isn't this considered a genocide if you look at it in this kind of perspective, in this context, for which perhaps the gun lobby ought to be at least partially held responsible?
Saeed, genocide has a very specific definition. So of course I'm not going to weigh in on that. It's not lost on me. I don't think it's lost on anyone.
This latest shooting is putting the U.S. national spotlight on school shootings. According to CNN, Tuesday's incident marks at least the 30th shooting at a kindergarten through to 12th grade school in the U.S. so far this year. And school shootings have spiked since the late 2010s. Based on a report from the Washington Post, more than 311,000 students have been exposed to gun violence since 1999. Americans have more guns than anywhere else in the world. A 2018 Small Arms Survey report says the U.S. had about 120.5 firearms per 100 residents, and that makes it the only country in the report with more civilian-owned guns than people. A federal tally of gun commerce shows more than 11 million guns were manufactured in 2020, nearly triple the amount made in 2000. 6 million more firearms were also imported in 2020.